I must emphasize at the outstart that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is not a politician. So I'm not here this afternoon as a Republican, nor as a Democrat. So I have to stand here today as what I was when I was born, a black man. Every election year, these politicians are sit up here to pacify. They sit here and sit up here to fight the white man. This is what they do. They send drugs and all down here to pacify us. They send alcohol down here to pacify us.
Man, you must understand that historically there were two types of slaves, the house Negro and the field Negro. Now the house Negro, he lived in the house next to his master in the big house, either in the basement or up in the attic. He dressed pretty good, he ate pretty good, what the master left him. He loved his master. I say he loved his master better than the master loved himself. If the master said, we got a nice house here, he said, yeah, boss, we got a nice house here. Master's house caught on fire, the house Negro would be the one who'd run to put the blaze out. If the master got sick, he said, what's the matter, boss? We sick? We sick. You see, this is the thinking of the house Negro. Now, if another slave came up to him and said, let's run away, let's separate, let's get away from this cruel master, he said, why? What's better than what we got here? Run away, I'm not going anywhere. This is the house Negro. In those days, we called them the house.
And that's what we call them today, because we still got a lot of...
Hello everyone. Before we begin, let me lay down the ground rules of what I mean when I use the term house Negro. Typically, the use of this word throughout history was used as a means to label black people who were clearly betraying the community. Other labels, such as Uncle Tom, Tap Dancer, and the beloved and cherished Pet Tanuki, also carried the same weight. However, over the course of 60 years or so, and becoming disabled with nothing to do but read books and watch philosophy videos, I started to realize not a lot of black people have a solid philosophical foundation. I could easily throw in the black people can't read card, but let's be honest, philosophy is boring as hell to read. So I don't expect the majority of people to do what I did. In my opinion, the issue stems from the lack of fathers, clearly. Because you have to ask yourself this question. Where do children learn right from wrong? Yes, they can learn it from books, but again, it's boring. However, if you've been paying attention to your entertainment, there is a debate, or at least a war, on establishing what is more important, a good story or representation. Now, why is that? Well, when you deconstruct the issue, it's all too clear. No fathers means no experience to be passed down to the new generation on what not to do and what to do. Meaning, the television becomes the new father, the modern father. Television becomes entertainment and philosophy intertwined. And when you piece these two factors together, it's quite clear why there is a war within entertainment. It's because they want your kids and they want the old way of thinking to die out. This is why for those who watched Static Shock back in the 90s, big fan here, its discussions about bullying, drugs, and even racism didn't felt too shoot in. It felt like it came from a genuine experience, someone actually trying to convey something that they actually went through, as opposed to shows like The Modern Proud Family, where their discussions of racism appear to come from a committee who oversees the production of the show to ensure that the correct message, approved solely by them, is delivered. The message takes precedent above all, lore or character traits be damned. This is why I would categorize old Static Shock as a common reality, and The Modern Proud Family and anything like it as house Negro propaganda. So in this video, when I am referring to someone as a house Negro, it is not to be interpreted as disparaging or racially motivated or a hate crime. This is me telling you, watch your six, because you're surrounding yourself with your enemies and calling them your friends, which a lot of black people, mostly the famous ones, hashtag not all, are doing, which by their mistakes incentivizes younger black people to do the same, because it's cool. Now, are these people going to change their minds? I don't expect them to. I guess the goal I have in mind is to find like-minded people who are historically and ideologically aware. And if you chimp out, they can have you. Keep in mind, this label is considered something of an offense until their political party is using it, then magically it's fine. Personally, I'm tired of seeing my people, Americans, teaming up with people who historically or ideologically would annihilate your entire family line if they knew they could get away with it. Again, I'm not here to save everyone. I'm not the guy with the gnosis who has the secret knowledge they don't want you to know about. Questions on who's the they, but you can fill in the blanks. Now, what truly defines a genuine house Negro? Is it their voting habits, the people they follow, the language they speak, or the ideological lens planted in their minds that no one can see but can only hear? Well, in this video, a genuine house Negro is a person who honestly believes they belong in a space that clearly doesn't want them there. This is akin to a chicken walking into a Five Guys only to be told the nearest KFC is down the street. But like Charlemagne the God says, I guess he had his Negro wake-up call, and a lot of you are going to wake up too late. With that being said, let's get down to our first genuine house Negro. She's one who needs no introduction, known as the left, as the crazy Hitler lover that tap dances for the right, but to the right is known as the original leftist who couldn't make it on the left because the occupation for house Negroes was fulfilled.
Man, you must understand that historically there were two types of slaves, the house Negro and the field Negro. Now the house Negro, he lived in the house next to his master, in the basement, either in the basement or...
Imagine someone who claims to be a massive fan of Thomas Sowell is so delusional in making such a claim when Thomas Sowell understands the unnecessary hatred the Jews face in his book Black Rednecks, White Liberals, and yet somehow this woman will promote to you the Talmudic Jew, written by a German Catholic theologian and known anti-Semite. And yet, if you confront her on his anti-Semitic tropes, she'll make the claim that she either doesn't hate Jews, but Zionists, which is just another word for Jews, in a tactic the Soviets did in the late 1940s, and increasingly after the Six-Day War in 1967, when anti-Zionist rhetoric intensified into a widespread propaganda campaign. Now, I'm not going to sit here and pretend I'm the perfect little angel who had an IQ of 400 at the age of 6 here. I used to watch Candace Owens back in 2020, when she was heavily promoting herself through the right wing as the strong black woman who rejects victim mentality. Only when around 2022 or 23, where allegations of Andrew Tate's sex trafficking was kicking off, something told me, let me at least listen to what these people have to say. Yes, I was a part of the Red Pill area, but I was more akin to people like Kevin Samuel, may he rest in peace, and gotten impatient with everyone in the community saying the same old talking points day in and day out, like the anti-woke community and the woke community. Because why would I need 20 people saying the exact same thing when nothing happening or improving? Just kill the other 19 channels and keep the good one. So I came up with the condition. I'm moving away from the Red Pill community if the evidence on Andrew Tate is strong and concise. Only to watch one of the many documentaries that had this little gem.
So let's just watch this video about Vivian, and we'll talk about it on the other side.
Had it where I've had girls who say, oh, I know you're with Vivian, I know you've been with her a long time, I don't mind, I'll stay out tonight, you two stay alone, all that shit, but it never lasts long. Because the ones who are really in love with you won't do that. You actually have to downplay your relationship with a girl of 6 years. And I only get away with that because the girl of 6 years plays along. So Vivian's been with me
So he's been with Vivian for 6 years, right?
completely head over heels in love with me. She wants kids with me, everything. And we met and we fell, whatever, we're in love. But when a new girl comes, when I bring on new girls, I usually pair them with Vivian. Because Vivian's younger. Melissa's like 28, Vivian's like 21.
Vivian's 21. And at this point, he's been a girlfriend for 6 years. So you do the math. It means that they met when she was 15 years old.
And when questioned about this, Candace, with her great knowledge and knowing everything, seems to not know about this easy to find information. Funny how that works. So I packed my bags and got the hell away from that pedophilia brigade. Then I started to wonder, with people like Candace Owens, I'm sure you're probably wondering, what about her little brother, Officer Tatum? Trust me, his bootlicking of the Uvalde shooting was proof enough to Brexit. Then when I found out she was hanging around Kanye, and how a lot of these rappers are influenced by the Nation of Islam, it all made sense. Imagine being so delusional that you think you belong in a space with white nationalists when you're black, catering to them on your show about how the Jews were responsible for the death of Charlie Kirk, while showing no damn proof. On top of the fact, thinking you belong in a space with black nationalists when you're a woman, signal boosting Palestine when the first thing these people would do to you when they conquer America is make you a slave and rape you because their God said so. Side note, Candace Owens was associates with Zoe Quinn around 2020. You know, the same Zoe Quinn who kicked off Gamergate, the same person who used her social status to socially pressure her coworker into killing herself. Despite being called Red Pill Black, I guess every now and then she likes to take a little bit of the blue pill depending on certain women with status when they have something she can relate to, abusing their status to go after their critics. Let's face it, she's not red or blue pilled, she's purple, from choking on the amount of talking points being shoved down her throat in exchange for power and status, overdosing on the delusions of Jewish conspiracy theories, when in some cases, the Jew she is pointing at is a literal communist or socialist. And if you know anything about these two ideologies, they reject tradition outright and embrace a more secular way of thinking. But it's always the Jews as a whole, as a collective, including the traditional ones for some reason. Look, I get it. The ADL is ass, and yes, they do often weaponize the word anti-Semite to get their way. I mean, come on, how do you think the left gets their power? Working honestly at a 9 to 5? These people, including Candace, aren't about honesty. It's about the centralization of power and being able to suppress any and all opposition to the pre-approved message. It is true where there are cases of people weaponizing allegations of racism to centralize wealth to themselves from the idiots that look like them. However, this woman has taken it to the extreme, to the point to where the socialists and communists then have cover, even when she's right in a way, and being a damn idiot and a tap dancer.
Oh, nigga, please.
When people hear the word lie, they immediately jump to everything that comes out that person's mouth is a load of crap, while completely obfuscating the fact that a lie can also be a well-constructed nugget of truth, covered in a pile of shit. Let's say, for example, a Nazi, who we're ideologically against, claims 2 + 2 = 4. Does agreeing with the notion means the person is a Nazi? In terms of purity checks, do I have to throw out the concept of mathematical fundamentals to accuse the left because what the Nazi or National Marxist says at that time is factually true? In this example, the left will say no. However, in more complex situations with enough wiggle room to come up with excuses to get a win for the right side of history, the left will say yes, because saying otherwise is admitting you're a white supremacist. When in some cases, two different ideologies can agree, but have different reasons why they agree or disagree. Just like how Jake Shields, despite being so anti-woke, can agree that Renee Good was murdered by ICE, not because of Trump, but primarily because she's white. To him, this is a systematic removal of white people, led by the Jewish cabal. To the left, it's the modern Berlin of Nazi Germany. Two sides are living in their ideological bubbles with main character syndrome, when in reality, she got herself killed. End of discussion. But since you want to be Nick, I'll let Candace talk to you like you're a Nick.
She is a victim of the culture, and I've said this over and over again ad nauseum, which is just that victimhood has become almost a mental plague.
People like Candace Owens is what hurts getting to the truth more, because clearly this narcissistic woman values money more than practicing the life of a man she claims is her hero. The issue to her is that her hero accumulates money at a rate that is too slow for her life that she lives. She needs the money quick, fast, today, and now. For those lawsuits she's facing from all that slander. And when you have a person who selectively curates her words to essentially suck off certain audiences' ego for fast cash, why do you think she's this way?
Been smeared, libeled, I have been protested, I have been kicked out of restaurants, I have been assaulted because I go around with a very simple message, which is that bad things happen to everyone. I challenge Black Americans to wake contract lords. I challenge Black Americans to wake up to your true history, because your quarrel is not with white men. Okay? Wake up to who publishes these books and keeps us warring with one another. Christians versus Christians, right? Christians versus Muslims. Wake up and learn the true history of slavery. But a victim mentality is not something that you should possess because a bad thing happens to you. This has earned me the title of being called anti-Black, anti-LGBT. I have been called a Nazi sympathizer, among other things. That wasn't exactly a white men sport, okay? Jewish people were the ones that were trading us. Jewish people were in control of the slave trade.
Okay.
We buried a lot of it, but it's there, and you can find it.
Okay.
Because I have this idea that if we don't accept ourselves as oppressed and we accept ourselves as the victor of our experiences, then we can achieve more in life. What you're seeing happening today, obviously we have some Black people that are just shouting in the back. We have some Black people that are sitting in the front quietly that are chanting USA and having a normal conversation. You're going to hear it in this room first. Okay. There's an ideological civil war happening. Black people that are focused on their past and shouting about slavery, and Black people that are focused on their futures, okay? I challenge Black Americans to wake contract lords. I challenge Black Americans to wake up to your true history, because your quarrel is not with white men. I can guarantee you what you're seeing happening is victim mentality versus victor mentality. I promise you. I can tell you right now who is going to be better off when we look 20 years, when we look at the faces in this room, who's going to be better off are the girls that are sitting right here and across this room, because they don't have your mentality. I think all of us need to wake up to this, because it's on.
So for those who don't know, this is a conspiracy theory that is actually so stupid that it is not even considered a believable conspiracy theory. It is complete garbage. It is a conspiracy theory that was started by Louis Farrakhan of the Nation of Islam. That's what it was called. The Secret Relationship Between Blacks and Jews is a 3-volume work of pseudo-scholarship published by the Nation of Islam. The first volume, which was released in 1991, asserts that Jews dominated the Atlantic slave trade. The Secret Relationship has been widely criticized for being anti-Semitic and for failing to provide an objective analysis of the role of Jews in the slave trade. The American Historical Association issued a statement condemning claims that Jews played a disproportionate role in the Atlantic slave trade, and other historians, such as Wim Kluster and Seymour Drescher, concluded that the role of Jews in the overall Atlantic slave slave trade was in fact minimal. The book uses selective citations in order to exaggerate the role of Jews. The funny thing is,
they always do.
Victim mentality is not cool. I don't know why people like being oppressed. It's the weirdest thing I've ever heard. I love oppression. We're oppressed. 400 years of slavery, Jim Crow, which, by the way, none of you guys lived through. Your grandparents did, and it's embarrassing. You utilize their history, and you come in here with more emotion than they ever had when they were living through it. More emotion than they ever had when they were living through it. It's embarrassing. You're not living through anything right now. You're overly privileged Americans. It's what's going on right now.
It's not very surprising because it's the Nation of Islam and Louis Farrakhan publishing it, so they're probably functionally retarded. But this is basically where this originates from. The Jews dominated the slave trade. It is complete nonsense.
But I mean, think there's the bigger issue here that this is how Candace acts, right? Oh, yeah. A Jew criticized me. Well, I'll show you. I'll tell black people that Jews were the main ones who enslaved them and turned black people against Jews. It's like, this is evil behavior. If Ben Shapiro says something, respond to Ben Shapiro. Oh, now I'm going to get the Jews because of Ben Shapiro, because a Jew criticized me. This chick is a lunatic, man.
A lot of grievance out there that's kind of unprovable, the underlying allegations.
Right, in many ways, she is a victim of the culture, and I've said this over and over again ad nauseum, which is just that victimhood has become almost a mental plague upon Black America in particular, because that word racism is being so overused that society is becoming desensitized to it, and we actually can't even recognize it when it actually exists. And I've learned what's in that Talmud, and I encourage other people at home to learn what is in that Talmud.
Let's just look at the book she's just picked up. The first thing to note is it's called The Talmudic Jew. It's actually an English translation. The original was written in German in 1871 by an anti-Semitic writer called August Rohling. It was called Der Talmud Jew.
Jewish people were the ones that were trading us. Jewish people were in control of the slave trade.
So that's it. She's got this new insight. Whites have never persecuted black people. It's only Jews. Jews did the slave trade.
I can guarantee you what you're seeing happening is victim mentality versus victor mentality.
To her, you are a moron, an insufferable piece of waste that has wealth and doesn't know what to do with it. And while screaming that the economy is trash, you people still have the ability to send this woman and others that feed into your delusions $5, $10, $20, $50 to $100 in donations about Egyptian planes following Erica Kirk, who she also claims is covering up her husband's death, to Netanyahu shooting Charlie Kirk in a tunnel that he dug underneath the tent to shoot upward when the bullet was shot at a higher elevation, to where this tap dancer can live a better life than you, as you, a moron, and you wonder why your life sucks. Maybe if you would stop following hypocritical trash that sells you on the idea that the victim mentality is for slave-minded blacks, then turns around selling a victim narrative tailored for whites that the real people behind the slave trade were the Jews, when she was previously marketing to another audience that you need to get over slavery and be winners, then turning back to the white audience to console them in their delusional time of need that they're being genocided by the Jews, when in reality they're genociding themselves by people who are white, pretending to be brown or indigenous through the one-drop rule. You get the point. So for the last time, Candace Owens isn't a conservative. She's a defective liberal LARPing as a conservative. Because of people like her and the next genuine house need, finding the truth to certain political matters becomes a challenge. I don't have black fatigue or white fatigue, I have bitch fatigue. And a lot of you smell a bitch, minus the dick. And trust me, this next house need, despite being surrounded by women all the time and claiming to be banging so many hoes, reeks more of gayness than anything else. Imagine living a double life, where on one end, you're the masculine Tyrone with 6 inches, 6 figures, and over 600 hoes. But in another reality, you're like being held in a position by another dude, like you're about to scream massa or daddy. So give it up, but not your manhood, to the fresh, to the fit, and the gay.
We got a nice house here. Master's house caught on fire, the house Negro would be the one who run to put the blaze out. If the master got sick, he said, "What's the matter, boss? We sick? We sick." You see, See, this is the tricking of the house Negro.
Now I know what the well-informed is thinking. Yoshi, isn't this man Sudanese? How could he possibly be a house Negro when he doesn't fit the demographic? Right you are, fellow viewer. However, to show some appreciation to Myron's new friends, who clearly see him as a Nanuki, we're going to treat him like a house Negro. Myron Gaines is one of the many cookie-cutter channels within the Red Pill community called Fresh and Fit. Trust me, if you listen to one, you'll listen to all of them. Now, I get why the community formed in the first place. The collective female hive mind known as feminism is the cultural shitstorm that gave justification for that space to be made in the first place. If one side can get away with it, why not replicate it, but make it our own flavor? Exclaimed the degenerate.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna go build my own theme park with blackjack and hookers.
Congratulations, ladies. Not only did you usher in men being women, you also ushered in pedophilia, lack of masculinity.
I am now the alpha.
Well, not how this works. I am the teacher.
The alpha takes priority over the teacher.
The death of chivalry, unequal pay between genders, Nazis.
Kids love Hitler. They just do. You know it, I know it.
Double lifestyles without being a spy, all under the label of equality. Look, I understand some women can be freaky sometimes, but you don't have to drag the entire demographic down the communist hellhole and force every woman or girl to become communal sex toilets just because you're not married with no children and want to ruin everyone else's lives. But I digress. Now, I could talk about this man's clearly anti-Semitic rhetoric, but let's be honest, doing that only paints this man, who is very homoerotic, into a chiseled Tyrone who ain't afraid to speak the truth. Trademark. So we ain't doing that. Instead, we're going to do the opposite. We're going to attack his advice to men and show this is mostly advice for women. Hoe-ass women. And he wants you to be a hoe-ass man, like the feminists do to avoid Nazis. Look how well that turned out. But much like the feminists, the manosphere is filled with gay closeted men, trying to ruin men's lives as well, with such sterling motivational advice such as, marriage is not designed for the West.
The women are not going to change, bro. They have zero incentive to change. They have the high ground. They have the leverage. They have the power. In order for you to be the leader, she must be the follower. The whole dynamic of a romantic relationship is one party has to like the other party more. That's just how it goes. That's how the attraction sticks. The girl has to like you more than you like her. This is the only way that the dynamic is going to last. Thanks to social media and the internet, women think that they can do better until they realize they can't. A lot of men aren't approaching women because women are insufferable in the West.
Now, I will give Myron some credit. Yes, this is true. There are some women out there that will dog your ass out to the state for your money and everything that you have, making those women effectively house pets as well. They're wives to the state, but a pet that are pet owners of the boyfriend husband. Like I said earlier in the Candace segment, a well-constructed lie is a nugget of truth, covered in a pile of shit. However, there's an issue with what Myron is trying to deliver here. You see, you have to evaluate what type of life Myron lives and what type of man Myron is. The stereotypical Tyrone surrounded by big booty bitches with fake hair. Nightclub hoes dressed in scantily clad dresses, exposing legs and ass, leaving nothing to the imagination. Low IQ individuals who think they can argue with a man who hates women, hates black people, and comes from an ideology that makes it perfectly fine to hate you, and are dumb enough to enter a show whose marketing strategy is to show how dumb women are. You see the problem here? Because Myron surrounds himself with low-quality women. That doesn't mean the system is out to get him, it just means his dick has overtaken his brain, and his brain has taken the shape of his penis, very small. Myron surrounds himself with trash. And because his lifestyle depends on that trash, his mind becomes trashed, thinking he lives in a trash society. Also, young men, I have to ask you this. When you're watching these videos of these types of bimbos making fools of themselves, are you really trying to turn a hoe into a housewife? If your answer is yes, you're the problem.
It's not a doctor's appointment, is it? You're not sick. God, no. God, you can't give me a gift and then take it away.
I'm not sick, silly. It's just a regular celebrity appointment. I get paid a few million to shill a product, and people who live in their mother's basements talk shit about how many starving kids the money I just made could have saved.
Oh, okay. Have fun. Oh. Boy, I love that.
And honestly, how many videos do you have to watch to finally understand all the red flags and buzzwords you need to navigate the dating market? If you want a wife, go to church. And if you're going to church, be serious about it. Because I don't take this house Negro seriously, when his entire livelihood is dependent on the very demographic he claims isn't worth his time. Like a girlfriend who is mad at her man for being worthless, but happy as hell when he's good at dicking her down. That's Myron. I mean, come on, Myron. You're a collectivist hoe. That's the only reason the white supremacists even have you around. Without that, you'd probably be nothing more than a stress release while they fuck you from behind while calling you a n***.
Myron's in these people's space, and for some reason he doesn't realize they don't want him there, because apparently whites only in the title isn't clear enough.
Reading nothing, hey Steve. Tell that go find it himself.
Yes, sir. Listen, let's just stick with the Americans for now.
And then we got this fucking naturalization here. Like, bro, you're with the standard guy. Yo, you're British, right?
Bro, you don't know your
Yeah.
You can't just like not be there. You see anybody else there? I'm not there. Ain't nobody else there. No one else is there but you. When Abba and Preach sat there and said that Myron wanted to be white, I gave Myron a little bit of grace. I said, you know what? Myron's racist, but I don't think he wants to be a white man. But now I genuinely have to sit there and surrender the point to Abba and Preach. They're right.
Advising men to sleep with at least 50 different women before settling down. Like a hoe. I won't spend too much time on this because it's quite simple. Men, or boys who are trying to be men and failing, how's this sound advice to mimic the bad behaviors of tricks and hoes? If there was a bunch of Ghislaine Maxwells running around, is that grounds to start trafficking minors to secluded islands to have sex with them because they're doing it too? Let's be honest, most of you are screaming "beast," so don't bother. Punishing women who reschedule dates by demanding they pay for drinks and dinner. Say it with me, people.
Gay!
How about this for advice? Move on to the next one, baby boy. Virginity is a key trait men prefer in women. I mean, if you're a predator and prefer 9-year-olds, then yeah, I guess. But let's be fair, yes, young men around the age of 18 should experience the virginity of a girl their age. Not grown-ass men around their mid-30s or more talking about no hymen, no diamond.
Fixation that society has with the diamond, the bling.
If you look at history, what does the wedding ring represent or the engagement ring represent? It represents the man's ability to buy things and do things for the woman.
This one I don't get, Byron. If you like hoes, which clearly you do because you surround yourself with them in and day out, why not get one with experience? Are you afraid when you're hitting it from behind, the first question she's gonna ask is it in yet? Bro goes after the virgins like Muhammad goes after Aisha. If she hasn't taken any dick from any other dude, who else can she compare you to? Let's face it, this man only says this edgy ass crap because he's trying to cash in his masculine card to gain back the masculinity from taking it up the butt all these years. Because let's ask ourselves this question, black people. What do we have to fear from a person that literally takes it up the butt?
People are dying. People are dying watching this. All right. So, guys, Andrew's doing the math here. 2 inches for a prepubescent girl's vaginal canal, 5.5 inches for an average Arab man's penis. Do the math there. Let's keep going.
It's very important that you visually understand this. In order for Muhammad, who I think definitionally would be a pedophile, to have done 0 damage to Aisha, which is in conforming with the Muslim lantern conditions of, quote, not hurting the girl. In this case, I would say Muhammad's penis would only be able to be roughly 1.8 inches in order to not actually 1.8 damage this woman. 1.8 inches.
I like how he's totally deadpan the entire time.
Fuck wrong with you?
People chimping out.
They
chimping out. He chimping out. He said, what's the issue? Because I looked at him.
Chimping out?
He chimping out.
Put that phone down.
Why?
Put that phone down.
You don't like looking ugly?
Put that phone down, bitch.
Bro. Blacks being blacks.
Shut up.
Tanuki!
Oh, shit. It's going to be one of those videos. Okay. I like what's going on here.
To say it on air with a hard ER. I've said
No, please
nigga
don't.
many times,
That
but I've
doesn't
yet,
sound right.
I've yet to say it with the hard ER. Should I do it right now?
No.
It's up to you. You don't have to if you don't want to. But I know they're going to get pissed off.
Because he's a too. If you want to say too.
Well,
Just hardy ER you just guys sounds already crazy. Say it behind closed doors, so show the world.
I say it all the time. I hate
And he's a too.
Well,
You have color.
It depends on who you ask. Some don't
Exactly.
consider me one. Some don't consider me one. Some will say,
What
like,
are
oh,
you?
Arab.
No, you are. Oh, he's Arab.
I have the pass. Can I say it?
So
He is too. I'll give you
It's
a
up to
pass.
her.
No,
no,
I'm
she's
sorry.
If she wants me to say it, I'll say it.
Some people say I'm not black, and some people say I'm Arab.
You give me the pass.
I give you the pass.
Pass.
Nothing, hey, Steve. Tell that go find it himself.
Again, says whites only. Why are you there?
I ain't talking about no dollars. Yeah, my people want their power. When I'm gone, don't give me flowers. When you know what's yours is ours. Reparations. I ain't talking about no dollars.
You guys should be embarrassed. You're asking white people for money. You're down bad. How do you act bougie but then also just ask for handouts? No shame. I want to bring shame back. What the fuck?
The reality is, how the fuck are you going to sit here and ask for money that you didn't work for to be paid by people that never enslaved you? And then here's the crazy part. Who's going to pay for the reparations? Everybody else. Which means you too, you fucking stupid blacks.
He is not famous. So that Friday says, okay, can you let me know by tomorrow? We have backup folks waiting and not a lot of time. And then Friday around about 12:03 in the afternoon, he says, hey, so we don't know what to do because Myron only wants to debate with an anti-Zionist, which doesn't exist on your side of the aisle. I'm not sure what to do. Myron doesn't want to debate with someone who is a Zionist, and an anti-Zionist don't exist on your side of the aisle. Now that's strange. Why would Myron want to debate with an anti-Zionist when he is an anti-Zionist? Wait a minute. Myron is against Jews. Myron hates Israel. Myron doesn't like Zionists. So wouldn't Myron want to debate a Zionist? Why? That's so crazy. Myron will only debate an anti-Zionist? Okay, that just goes to show you guys that Myron is a coward. Myron sits there in his own hug box all by himself and talk against Zionism, Zionists, Israel, Jews, and yet still he won't debate against one? Huh. interesting. That should tell you a lot about his arguments. I've seen Myron debate a Zionist before, and that Zionist wiped his ass with Myron. Anyway, so the last sentence says, and we have only a week here left. 2 days later, Andrew, organizer, says Jack Rattlesnake isn't able to do the debate now, and Myron isn't interested anymore, so we're going to pull out completely. And so that's the end of the receipts that this person gave.
What? Wait, what? Wait, who? You guys were talking with Sean about this, right? Like you already fucked that up. Oh, I fucked it up now. Andrew wants to fuck it up now, right? Okay. This girl's a fat fucking Jew. Who gives a fuck about that?
I want to ask for all the people out there, can you explain why gay men and lesbians are invaluable to society?
Well, so they don't really provide, they don't create families, and since they can't create families, that's problematic. And then on top of that, I don't think they should even have children. I don't think gays should be able to adopt children. I think it's a problem, right? I think okay, so I said this earlier, and I don't want to sound like a broken record, but I'll go through it quickly. All my worldviews are based on kids. And what I mean by this is, when I say the things that I say, it always comes back to, are we having the best environment for children? And I think your liberties kind of end once your liberty starts to intrude on the ability to raise children in a fruitful society. So, for example, I think gay people should be able to be gay and do what they want, fine. But you're not going to do it in front of kids or families, right? You're not going to go ahead and corrupt them where, Mommy, why are they holding hands and kissing? I think that's a problem. So, I think, and I gave my whole take on that before, which were on YouTube. I won't say too much there on what how I think we solved the problem. Obviously without violence, but I do think that kids need to be protected and cherished and preserved, and having more gay people running around doesn't necessarily help that. So I don't think they should be able to adopt kids, and because of that, I don't think they're able to contribute to society the same way that a heterosexual man or a heterosexual woman can.
I 100% agree. Thank you.
Oh, but he's a racist and he says mean things about blacks and the Jews. Yes, but you really shouldn't be giving this man that kind of response or attention. Yes, he's a racist. But deep down, like the rest of them, they're homosexuals who hate how women get better attention than them. They live a double life that only their drones are unaware of. They're weak, feeble men where the only way they can appear to be men is to say edgy online toilet humor. That is the only credit they have as quote-unquote men. I can go on and on and on about this guy, but let's face it, these type of men were running around long before Andrew Tate was a thing. Just look at Tupac.
Semen found, no forcible entry, no entry into the anal, no nothing, none of that,
No fingerprints on the gun.
No fingerprints on the guns, you know what I'm saying? The only time ever there was an act of sodomy, she admitted she did it to me. I should be, putting charges on this girl who sodomized me on the floor of a dance club.
That's exactly what a closeted gay guy would say. Now, when it comes to this next house Negro, I don't know which one is more shameful, with no dignity as a man, thinking you belong in a whites-only space when you're brown as hell, or being called a great slave on your live stream in front of hundreds of thousands of impressionable black youth that think you're the best simply because you scream the loudest than a woman receiving anal. Either way, none should ever be qualified as a man, especially number 3 on this list. Now, when it comes to this next house Negro, I'm going to have to treat this one a bit different than these two. There's a difference between someone who is clearly tap dancing and think they're immune to their own rules of life that they apply to others, versus someone dancing to the same beat and doesn't see it. Now, this guy has been known to be controversial, but at the same time, during the development and research of this video, I've come across news that he has improved. In a way, I guess what I'm getting at here is, I don't want to be the guy who masks his mistakes as quote-unquote improving, as he is still stumbling. Reminder, high subscriber numbers doesn't mean they're doing right. If that was the case, every president we ever had, including those affiliated with the KKK, was right as well. Considering the issues our country faces is clearly a spiritual one. And you can deny that as much as you want, but considering people are favoring a religion that has a tendency to beat, kill, or sexually abuse women under the words of law, while saying Christianity represents oppression and tyranny, I would have to disagree. And it's because his upbringing and relationship around women, even his own mother, and interest in Islam is what has me worried that he may still have interest in this religion for all the wrong reasons. So I'll be lenient on this one, but be warned, the criticisms are still warranted, and only legitimate reasoning will be allowed to excuse these criticisms, not empty excuses such as mental health conditions and race. Because we have to be open to the discussion of what makes a person a genuine house Negro. And to be honest, as I've been doing research on these people with more to come, I've discovered the issue is a lot more systemic than people realize. So systemic that becoming a tap dancer can be as early as coming out of your mother's womb, because of socio-economical conditions that steer the youth into the indoctrination camps of their enemies, thinking that they're fighting the good fight. We live in a society where your children are no longer your children. They're the state's children, the movement's children, the collective's children. And it's been like that since the 1960s, even earlier than that, to where the black Americans then to today have become so desperate for a solution that the modern plantation becomes a solution. From Martin Luther King Jr. to Malcolm X to Manning Johnson to many revered in murals, we have been fed leaders by our masters without ever holding an election that says they are fit by merit to be one, a leader. Only for the activists to realize after goose stomping for years, this may be a bad idea, only to be dealt with where character assassination isn't sufficient enough.
Was pretty good. He ate pretty good when the master left him. He loved his master. I say he loved his master better than the master loved himself. If the master said, we got a nice house here, you say, yeah, boss, we got a nice house here. Master's house caught on fire, the house Negro would be the one to run to put the blaze out.
I Show Speed, aka Darian Jason Watkins Jr., is a very interesting case. He's not as malicious as the other two in terms of coonery, contradictions, two-faced lies, and so on, but much like ideology, coonery operates in the same manner, a lens planted in your mind that is designed to filter information that benefits those who planted it there in the first place. You may benefit now, but like all points in history show, the useful idiots only lives long enough until they are no longer needed. And considering the information that I have found on Darian, I am all too concerned. I guess I'll start off with the most concerning event this man has went through, but most of you may not know about this considering the very nature of this event. I don't expect most people on the left or the middle or the politically uninformed to know, but on the right wing, some people actually do. Well, those who are aware of the Dawa dilemma. And don't worry, I'm not going to go through all the really controversial stuff throughout his younger years that has already been talked to death. Though his lingo in those cases often mirror influencers from the red-pilled community, taking pleasure in the idea of dehumanizing women for the sake of content and views.
What? Is talking to me? Is a female talking to me? Am I no? Am I tripping? Am I tripping? Oh, wait, time out. Is a female talking to me right now? Is a fucking female talking to me? Get off the and do your husband dishes, bitch. Shut up.
Now, when I was growing up in high school, I took Spanish class in the 11th grade. Everyone was excited, but not for the right reasons. Now, in terms of diversity, the class was half and half with blacks and whites, with that one Asian guy most people cheated off of during tests. And the first thing everyone wanted to know in Spanish was swear words. Why? Well, despite the amount of love and peace speeches, we understood one thing. If they got away with disrespecting you in your face and you didn't catch it, use a bitch. I mean, even Huey from the Boondocks understood the assignment.
为什么那大头的忽然变这么shit？
您告诉他，如果我们输了，我们全部都去做监牢。
都相信那吗？大笨蛋！混蛋，他是一个大混球。
我不喜欢人家讥笑我。
他刚才。
I don't care about this talk about diversity, equity, inclusion. When competition sparks, they're going to talk shit.
Language. Yalla, nigga.
They're the power top, you're the bottom bitch. And you better do the same as well, if not tenfold. There's no amount of black unity that's going to heal that ass kicking or disrespect you got, because at that point, you're all infected by cuckitis. What event am I talking about? Well, there are two in particular, where Muslims go out their way to call Darien a slave or great slave in Arabic.
From Israel. Speak it, no, speak it, just speak it. هذا سبيد أكبر عبيد. والله أكبر عبيد.
Speed thinks that he speaks to an Israeli, but he speaks to a racist Palestinian that calls him a great slave.
Abid, and that with God help, he will be his boss. The irony is that Speed really cares, but to the wrong people.
I told the people that you're my friend, and I'm going to take you to Palestine, and I free that shit. Good job!
Anna Abid. There you go. Good shit, Speed.
What is that?
Oh, that just means Messi's ass.
Oh. Anna Abid. Anna Abid. Anna Abid!
Don't say that. Don't say that.
Why?
You can't say that.
Wait, my friend just told me to say it.
Don't.
It means Messi is ass.
No, you're saying I'm a slave.
In this crooked game of power politics here in America, the Negro, namely the race problem, integration, civil rights issue, are all nothing but tools used by the whites who call themselves liberals against another group of whites who call themselves conservatives, either to get into power or to retain power. Among whites here in America, the political teams are no longer divided into Democrats and Republicans. The whites who are now struggling for control of the American political throne are divided into liberal and conservative camps. The white liberals from both parties cross party lines to work together toward the same goal. And white conservatives from both parties do likewise. The white liberal differs from the white conservative only in one way. The liberal is more deceitful, more hypocritical than the conservative. Both want power, but the white liberal is the one who has perfected the art of posing as the Negro's friend and benefactor. And by winning the friendship and support of the Negro, the white liberal is able to use the Negro as a pawn or a weapon in this political football game that is constantly raging between the white liberals and the white conservatives. The American Negro is nothing but a political football, and the white liberals control this ball through tricks or tokenism, false promises of integration and civil rights. In this game of deceiving and using the American Negro, the white liberals have complete cooperation of the Negro civil rights leader, who sell our people out for a few crumbs of token recognition, token gains, token progress.
Now, I'm sure everyone is ready to shovel out their excuses as to why it's a good thing to be disrespected for the world to see. It's part of his brand. He's laughing at himself to build confidence. He's young. He has mental health issues. For Mr. Watkins here to show just how much character he has built for enduring public humiliation to be excused under the label of mental health, while not improving said mental health at all.
What the fuck I'm going through? 99 cents through Super.
This shit ain't funny, bro. It's not funny, bro. I swear to God, I'm lying, bro. Strike me down right now. This shit is not funny, bro.
Much like how people want to snatch guns away when people who are diagnosed under this label, that camera needs to be taken away too, if you're serious. I understand that perspective of Black Americans losing their minds and going ballistic when someone calls them an N-word, and you want to reinforce your mental state to where you're not offended by it. However, there are other ways of doing this while maintaining your dignity as a man. Take, for example, Shane Diesel. If you're familiar with the Gooner scene, you know exactly what kind of content this man does. To the incels, it's cuckolding. To the desirables, it's power play. I remember watching this kind of content over the years to get over my mental instability over the word, telling myself if this man can do it and have the mental fortitude to maintain his dignity as a man, why not me? I guess you can say, in a way, he is inspiration to me, and should honestly be inspiration to Black youth everywhere, particularly young men, as a hallmark of positive masculinity. I even dug up an interview in 2016 by the publisher AVN where he gives his opinion on doing derogatory interracial content. What do you think of the way interracial products are marketed? His quote, "It's fine. I feel if people are buying them, then that's what they're looking for. I've seen some that were just plain derogatory and uncalled for, but then it's up to the performer to put a stop to it if he feels certain things are uncalled for." Say what you want, but that's a man, because he maintains his dignity in a dominant way. Now, when it comes to Darian, these two events are not even comparable. What power dynamic is Darian even playing by fulfilling the stereotype of being a dancing idiot? The type of Black American you can hoodwink by being his friend and benefactor and fucking him in front of his audience, which is effectively our audience, in the same humiliating fashion of Black men being muscle for gay, effeminate white men, only for those with dignity to be like,
I'm gonna tickle you again. Wouldn't let that shit happen to me though.
So no, those excuses won't fly. Being young isn't an excuse, because it masks the underlying issues that has shaped this man's psyche over the years. House Negro praxis. The practice of being a house Negro. So we're going to analyze his upbringing through his parents, who also shared the responsibility of shaping him into the person who he is today, through one of the many tools used in the house Negro praxis, generational trauma. What is generational trauma? Well, generational trauma, also known as intergenerational or transgenerational trauma, refers to the psychological and emotional wounds passed down from one generation to the next, often stemming from collective or individual traumatic experiences such as a war, genocide, slavery, systematic oppression, or abuse. These traumas can be transmitted through epigenetic changes, alterations in gene expression without changing DNA sequence, parenting behaviors, family dynamics, and cultural narratives. And while I understand a lot of people are going to reach for the 400 years of slavery excuse, however, to counter that, my question to you is, how many quote-unquote leaders do you need to reinforce the fact that you are a child in this country, if not the world? Selling you solution after solution, only for it to backfire in your face for the same snake oil salesman to appear again with version 2.0, when in reality it's basically version 1.01, and upcharging you purely on the appearance of an upgrade. Same shit, more money out of your pocket. Because this excuse then becomes weaponized, a chain link that forms our bondage, that shackles us to the very thing that we are to our enemy, a product. We have de-evolved as a people where using physical abusive force and butt-breaking in public is now the responsibility of our parents doing that to us for them, especially if you're a young male growing up with a single female. As I'm watching the video from Mono Streaming, link to the video will be in the description for more information. I came across examples that prove my point. You see, when young boys grow up, they need to grow. They need to experience positive masculine traits or goals in their life that help shape and define them as men. But if you're a young male living in a space like this, a female space, that becomes impossible. Those events in your life where your mother or girlfriend or any female representative, despite being factually wrong or not, are always right. And to young men who experience this and is fed the narrative of equality, they feel as though they're the pet of the family rather than the head of one.
That's what your auntie did.
Shut the fuck! Ah, bro, what is you doing? Dang, man! No, I'm talking about the game. I'm talking about the game.
Speed. Suck my dick, Speed. Fucking suck. Go on Omegle. Go on fucking Omegle, you pussy.
Your mama going crazy on YouTube.
Hey, you're good. Hey, you good. Chill.
You chill.
Stop.
I mean, no, you stop. Stop with people like that. Cut it out. Not in my house and not with your siblings in here. And I mean it.
I'm not in the mood right now, man. Not in the mood. Not in the mood, bro.
Worst thing.
No, I'm straight. I'm straight. I'm not in the mood. I already get my head up. I'm straight. Okay, I'm straight. I'm streaming right now. You always doing this when I'm streaming. Shit, come on, turn me up. Mom, come on. Why she always doing this shit? Come on! Let's go! Let's go! Let's go! Let's go! I swear to God, Chad. Hey man, I love y'all boys, man. I love y'all boys, bro. You know what, bro? I'm not about to let a fucking, you know what? I want to yell so bad, you feel me? You feel me? You know what, bro? Hell no. 600K. Mom, come on.
I don't give a f.
Alright, okay, alright.
I don't give a f.
Alright.
I'm gonna be on the recording.
Okay, alright. That was embarrassing. But you know what, Chad? I'm sorry. I gotta end this. This is very embarrassing, you feel me? But you know what? I'm not about to let that shit bring me down. You feel me? We gonna get hype. I know. I don't give a f. Cause we not gonna let that bring that down, bro. You feel me? Yeah, yes, that's L, you feel me? But come on, I just man, I just want, oh my mom, I just want to yell, bro. I can't get hype. Like, I can't get hype being silent, bro. Like, I want to get hype as f. I can't get.
Let me in.
Huh?
Let me in.
I'm doing something right now, mom.
I don't care. I need change.
You need what?
Change.
What? Like some money?
Yes, 15. Nigga, you got big numbers in the team. That's 15. Yes.
But this is what he got in return.
Damn. Money popping up. There's your ass.
This is embarrassing. I'm not gonna lie. What do you mean, be quiet? Be quiet. It's 8:23. It's 8:24 p.m. This the reason. Chat, if y'all wonder why I start my streams early, it's because of her. Mom, get out! So now my mom wanna cut off the internet now. My mom wanna cut off the internet. My mom wanna cut off the internet. While I'm sitting here on YouTube doing what I love to do. You see how that sound? My mom wanna cut off the internet. Why you cut off the internet?
Quit cussing. You know why? I asked you to quit cussing, quit cussing. Quit cussing.
Do that make sense? I'm a man. I probably won't care. Y'all probably thinking like, bro, you tripping and shit though. But y'all remember the girl I showed y'all, right? I'm dedicated and shit, showing her support. You feel me? Like sending her money and shit, helping her out with her business and shit. She doing her little nail company. I'm helping her out, and I'm showing her big support. I did all I can though. One of my friends from back in Ohio, man, he showed me a video of her cheating and shit, dog, and it really hurt me to my fucking soul, dog. That shit hurt, man. I showed her so much support, and these whole things she did me on. She don't like me no more, y'all. I'm telling you. I'm just fucked up, bro. I fucked up again, bro. No girlfriend speed again, man. Lonely again. What am I gonna do, bro? I'm fucked up. Why these girls just don't listen? These girls don't listen to you, bro.
I'm sorry. Go to the back. Go to the very back room, bro. I'm sorry.
Yeah, we're actually dating, like, and he treats me really good.
And I'm a better kisser.
Oh yeah, he is.
I mean, I'm really hurt right now, bro. Like, no trolling shit on God, bro. Oh my God, bro. I don't get it, bro. I don't get it, bro. You know, all the people in my stream talking about, yo, bro, it's just the game and stuff. It's just this, bro. It's just that, bro. No, it's not. No, it's not, bro. These girls don't give a flying fuck about you, bro. All they fucking do is just manipulate you and fucking take everything from you, bro. They manipulate you and act like they fucking like you, then leave you in a fucking second, bro. They don't give a fuck about you, bro. And these, bro, and from all my past relationships, bro, these girls don't give a fuck about you. Yes, I have been told by my friend, word on the street, that I got cheated on. Take your hands up! Touching my... Ass kiss. They kissed. They kissed, bro. They kissed. I got cheated on. Bro, what is wrong with you, bro?
No, you look.
What is wrong with you, bro?
No, you look
like I'm being dead ass serious, bro.
No, bro.
Bro, can you please just leave, bro? Leave! Leave me alone! Leave!
And it's these types of events in young boys' lives where Islam is a solution to them. A religion that gives freedom, free reign to weak men to do whatever they please. They can marry children as young as 6, consummate the marriage at the age of 9, have sex with goats, have gay sex with the alleged angel Gabriel, physically punish women with death for anything that is considered criticism of Allah, and other degenerate examples of Muhammad, and yet live a public double life of masculinity, feigning to the world that they have the strength of 30 men. They are something to be revered. They are something to be respected. If his father was around, I'm sure he could help rationalize why it's fine for Darian to be excited past curfew celebrating his 600,000 milestone, and to act as a buffer to take most of the heat off of Darian. However, I think around this time, his parents were going through a divorce. Information's all over the place stating it happened as soon as Darian was born, but I couldn't find any public information on this, so take it with a grain of salt. So he doesn't have that barrier. He's in a space dominated by nurture, with a lack of lessons in nature, and women cannot provide nature lessons to young boys. But when you're living with an unhappy female that time after time shuts down these moments, it can take a toll. You can start to feel insecure. You start beating yourself up. You start asking yourself, Ma, what can I do to please you? What can I do to make you accept me? What can I do to make you listen to me? What can I do to be a man in your eyes? But to most young men, these women don't need you as a man. They need you as a resource, and they only see you as a resource. And this is why the father is the most important part in a young boy's life. He's a buffer between the mom and the son. Because in order for his mom to calm down, well, she's gonna need a little something if you catch my drift. And Darian cannot provide that, because they're related.
Oh my God!
So unfortunately, he was stuck with that attitude. And it's often these constant interruptions and disrespect they both show to each other, Darian starts to adopt the womanly behavior. When you're vulnerable, you need to shout loudly. Tied with the fact he needs to prove his manhood to his audience, who are children by the way, by standing up to his mother, only to get clowned on in exchange of views and fame. Coupled with his bad experiences with his ex-girlfriends, where time and time again, the type of girls Darian is interested in cheat on him time after time after time again, not learning from his experience that you need to stop trying to turn hoes into housewives. These experiences can often influence young men towards the direction of Islam or people like Nick Fuentes, depending on their race, spaces that fulfill the desires of young men who are robbed of their experiences of being men, and will often gravitate to the most extremes because of their experiences with bad women or bad girls that emasculate them over the years. Thankfully, there was reconciliation between the two. However, if Darian doesn't have the correct guidance he needs from his father, and he has another falling out with his mother, it could resurface a lot of bad blood and power gains between the two, which typically women do.
Women.
But when a large portion of our youthful males are gravitating towards people like Andrew Tate, King Osley, Nick Fuentes, Daniel Hakikachu, Muhammad Ajib, Sneeko, Myron Gaines, and many wolves in sheep's clothing, posing as male gurus, masculine figures, or snake oil salesmen, I wouldn't be surprised if sexual assault towards women would skyrocket, or even worst case scenario, goes massively unreported. Because now, depending on Darian's decision on what to follow in terms of religious beliefs, he's either going to contribute to this or be a deterrence. But as of now, he hasn't publicly made a declaration of his religious beliefs. However, his streams are heavily politically influenced by the Israel-Gaza discussion, which heavily favors Gaza, which means more influence and sympathization towards Islam. Because apparently all brown people are the same despite their cultural and historical differences.
Did they say you liquor?
They throwing stuff? Ah, shit. I'm not even on a rivalry team.
Said the useful idiot. And I'm sure a lot of people are going to say, well, his father is in his life, so he should be good. Yes, that is a good thing. However, based on what information is available, Darian's dad comes off extremely childish to me. Like he hasn't grown up yet, which is also another contributing factor to generational trauma. Man children. Now, before I speak on Darian's father, I think this is a pretty good opportunity for me to speak on another link that comes with this generational curse. And I really do want to speak on this phenomena that I will now coin intellectual backhanding. It's where people insult you in a dialectical way where to you it sounds like a compliment, but in reality they are flat out insulting you. And if you call it out, they can Mont and Bailey the conversation by retreating into their fortress as if it was really a compliment, wear you down by making you think something's wrong with you and not them, then continue insulting you in your face in front of people who really understand what they mean. Like, if you don't know and understand the history of like Martin Luther King Jr., someone saying you're the smartest person I've ever seen since Martin Luther King sounds like a compliment. But when you know MLK's history, that's flat out an insult, because MLK was essentially a puppet of the Marxist revolution. So they're basically saying, you're as smart as a puppet.
Abernathy, among others. We have a bunch of King papers that were released in volumes. These were his own writings, as well as correspondence that he wrote with other communists and Marxists and agitators. We have plenty of these materials, a lot more from where that came from. It's just what I had here in this room. And not only that, you have a bunch of files. And all of these things really give us insight into what King was trying to do, how he didn't actually believe in the Christian faith, even though he was a pastor, how he believed in the Marxist ideology, but understanding that we were in the midst of a Cold War, he couldn't just come out and say that he's a communist. He had to do it in a more covert way. And so here you had a man who was willing to play the part, pretend to be a minister, preaching the gospel, when in reality, he was teaching something more subversive, Marxist ideology, cloaked in a Christian garb.
Because the fact people compare Darien to Luffy from One Piece is honestly an insult not only to Oda, but to your literacy. Now, I'm not going to get into the debate of what political faction the Straw Hat Crew belongs in, because, well, it's entertainment and they're not real people. For crying out loud, the only thing that can incentivize Luffy into going to war with you is the fact you're starving his friends. You better hope this man doesn't have Thanksgiving with the poor, because at that point, you're already dead. Luffy is too lowbrow to understand Marxism or capitalism. This is why the idea of Luffy with a book is a gag like a fish on land. I'm not interested in doing the same thing white nationalists do to claim Jesus represents them by taking shit out of context to fit their worldview. It's cringe and gay, and you shouldn't be doing it. I hope people aren't trying to learn politics through the guy that literally grew up fighting in the jungle, became his own man at a very young age, and is now the contending Yonko amongst the big four. Because let's be honest, people, that ain't him.
You see how that sound? I might want to call the internet.
He gonna cry in the car.
Luffy didn't square up on women like this guy did to his mama to show how much of a man he was, to his audience predominantly made of children still swiping their parents' credit card for Fortnite currency. Hey yo, shout out the Buggy though, we gonna win this, my boy. Comparing Darien to Luffy to small traits such as the stereotypical tropes of main characters in Shonen Jump, such as the stupid idiot, is like comparing any person from the continent of Africa to Goku, because they're both Saiyans.
Hello, monkeys.
Not the fact that he's a good person, not the fact that he's a pull yourself up the bootstraps kind of guy, not because when he gets beat, he doesn't chimp out, he grows from it, and becomes stronger by accepting help from those better than him. No, we gravitate towards the most derogatory stereotypes in a space that is about stomping on those stereotypes.
You've challenged and lost to a fighter who is superior to you, and to make it worse, he was just a monkey, right?
It's the same lowbrow comparison Hassan Piker does, comparing a hoofy terrorist to Luffy over the smallest innate characteristics, showing his grand delusion is bigger and more vast than the Celestial Dragon's efforts of revising history.
بسألك تعرف شو هو ون بيس؟ عمرك سمعت بون بيس؟
أكيد يعني منذ الطفولة وأنا أشاهد ون بيس لوفي.
Luffy?
Yeah, he said he's been watching it since he was a kid.
The whole way!
Yeah.
That's sick. Yes, that's fire. That's so fire. Oh my god.
It's the similar tactic white nationalists do with Jesus to justify all the evil deeds, such as slavery in the Bible, characterizing him as white. But the second any ancestry proof comes out that he is a descendant of the Jews, the Bible goes right back to being evil. But if you read the Bible, quotes from Leviticus or any other type of book within the Bible isn't endorsing slavery, it's teaching the people of Israel not to enslave your people and exploit them, like sellouts. It teaches us as Christians that during those times when slavery was the norm and everyone practiced this global trade, and you wanted to be progressive during those times, you would use your resources and land as a safe haven. Yes, you technically own them as slaves, but through Jesus, you don't treat them as slaves. You treat them as your neighbor. You treat them as they're part of your nation.
Works out perfect. Look, Hector takes medication twice a day, and right now they got to use the bathroom. All three of them. But
Gracias.
is it cool if they stay here?
No.
Why not? What do you mean?
I don't know that.
All right, so they can't stay here then? It's cool if they come to the country, just not your house?
No.
There's a moral difference between the celestial dragons and Fisher Tiger, but through the Marxist lens, Fisher Tiger, despite freeing the slaves, is the bad guy for being a hypocrite and having crew members who are slaves. It's the Puritan mentality, weaponized, to make good people appear evil, which can be viewed as the angry criticisms of a slave master, thinking what you're doing is no different from what they're doing, so why rob from them? Well, I guess that's what happens when you learn manga or the Bible through Twitter instead of watching the damn show or reading the damn book. Wouldn't be surprised pedophiles reminds them of Luffy because, you know, they're both childlike in a way. They're just a kid at heart. But hey, real question. At the end of the day, who do you think Luffy is going to marry? Everyone is clearly saying Boa Hancock, but let's be honest. Luffy's a freedom fighter and he's always going with the shorty. Black power, black power, black power. You can't be mad, otherwise you're racist. So you have to support it. Anywho, going back to Darian's father and generational trauma, I just had to get that out there. Speed's father comes off very childish, as if he hasn't finished growing himself. I understand that a father has to be supportive of their son, however, a man with dignity wouldn't buck break his son to the internet, then receive benefits from his son he fucked, paid by the internet.
I show the meat. Oh my fucking god. You have to be kidding me right now. You have to be kidding me right now. There's no way my dad made I Show the Meat song, bruh. You just made a song about the worst situation that ever happened to me in a day of my life, Dad. My dad made a song that ruined my life, and he think it's off. Dad! No, I'm about to beat your ass. I'm about to beat the out of you, Dad. Oh God, you not my daddy no more, bruh. I'm never calling your on my phone, nah, bruh. The is going on with this, bruh? Oh, I'm about to chat. My son, I swear to God, bro. What the is my dad doing, bro? I swear to God, this nigga, he don't get it, bro. I might gotta real life fight my dad. I'm not playing with y'all, bro. I might gotta real life fight my dad, bro. He just made a song about I Showed the Meat. I told him, bro, my dad. This is my dad, chat. Keep that in mind. That's my dad and my little brother Jamal. So that's Jamal, my dad, and my uncle, y'all. Mind you, chat, I'm about to leak my dad number, bro. And he's dancing it, doing all these Michael Jackson moves and why you talking about my meat? Dad, this is not that. This is a private talk, and I'm being serious right now.
Oh, okay, my bad.
I'm being really serious. I'm about to really cry.
Dude, you are not I Showed Me. I'm I Showed Me. I am I Showed Me. You ain't me. You are I Showed Speed. I have two names. I'm Daddy Speed and I Showed.
Dad, bro, I'm being serious. I'm not playing.
Okay, all right.
Like, Dad, I'm being serious, bro.
I'm sorry, man.
I'm really being serious, Dad. You not listening to what I'm saying, Dad. You not listening. This is real.
Considering Darian looks up to him, he should be emotional support, not another reason to kill your own people. Especially considering the I Show Meat incident, which, honestly, considering his size, he shouldn't be ashamed of that. But he was, because he has no confidence in himself. This only reinforces the failure on the dad's part. He's too much of a clown and failed to instill positive masculine traits into Darian. And I'm not surprised a divorce kicked off. Miss me with the system is rigged against men excuse. These people were toxic at that time. They don't get that benefit. They're just a small sample to an ever-expanding epidemic of house Negro praxis. Parents buck-breaking their children to the world on behalf of their masters. This kind of stuff needs to be called out and tackled. not celebrated and deflected with excuses to continue this generational curse. Because if shame was an actual legal tender, black people are the richest people on the planet, no cap. And despite all that wealth, we still crawling around on the ground asking for table scraps, hoping those few table scraps can turn into a currency we forfeited during the civil rights era: dignity. Because let's be honest, I could have easily did you the same way I did Candace and Myron, but Darian Watkins, you're an exception. You're not in the same category as the other two, however, it doesn't mean you have purified yourself of the demonic beats of house niggardry. But that would only cover up the issue even further if I put you in their category. Which is why I chose to be lenient with you and use your upbringing as an analysis of a more deeper issue to the black community, because you do remind me of me. Trying to fit into a space that clearly didn't want me there, while rejecting the one space I felt like I didn't belong in, myself. But thankfully, through God's grace and Him guiding me to people like Eric July, Thomas Sowell, I've grown as a person. Colossians 3:18-20. It's the job of the man to follow God, to be stable as a rock, so that the woman is stable and the kids are stable. And when you accept God, Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior, who died for everyone's sins, not to continue sinning, not to come up with excuses as to why you do these things, but to come unto Him so He may guide you through life to become a better person.
The responsibility is far greater. And you must be better than me. Understand?
But when God is no longer in your life, your family, your genetics, then generational trauma becomes the tool of the devil. It becomes one of the most powerful tools of white supremacy. It becomes the signifier to your enemy. You're one of the good ones, so we can fuck with you. Because we ain't gotta worry about you squaring up on us because your parents already broke you down for us. And if you decide to buck back, they can handle you. Because what does a slave master have to fear from a boy who came from a dysfunctional family? Nothing. What slave master has to fear from a boy trying to prove he's a man to an audience of children against your own mother? Nothing. What slave master has to fear from a boy whose father is as childish as broken as you are? Nothing. And honestly, that's what defines you as a genuine house Negro. Not voting Democrat or Republican or going against the quote-unquote black interests, but being caught in the praxis of being a house Negro and thinking you aren't one. Thinking you belong in a space that clearly doesn't want you there to begin with. Thinking people you call your friends insulting you in a foreign language, but you're so self-hating to the point where so long as you're paid to be called a n***, and being the bottom bitch of the power play, you somehow have convinced yourself you're the one winning because you're the one with the money. But you've also shown what you're willing to exchange for that money: your dignity. And I know there's going to be some people who would disagree that Speed doesn't and shouldn't fall into the category of being a house Negro for all the positive things he has done throughout the years. You know, his tour through Africa showing the more developed areas and like cities, which, let's be honest, if you're now discovering countries in Africa have cities and it wasn't just old huts and surviving in the wild, your education failed you. And they were more than likely all black, by the way. At least the majority, ran by white Marxist committees. So what does that say? What does that say about your black unity when I knew of these cities watching Japanese porn? A man's dignity is far more valuable than anything money can buy. When you grow up in an environment with a toxic mom and dad, egged on by your audience of children to be a man squaring up on your mom for entertainment, having a father that I can only assume lets you do whatever you want with no accountability whatsoever, and the fact you're so comfortable traveling to countries with Muslim populations that cement what you are to the world is that you are nothing more than a and your only response is to laugh, giggle, take the humiliation, and run away. But you don't square up on them like you did your mother. You don't chimp the hell out like you do on your live streams when people pay you money to call you. You are a house Negro by definition, but you do have the ability to change that. This is not progress, it's tokenism. The same tokenism Malcolm X warned us about way back in the 60s, and it should wholeheartedly be rejected. So I'm not entirely sure if you're going to see this video or not, who knows, but for you, it's not too late. It's not too late for some of us, but for others, there is no turning back. And you definitely don't want to go down that path. You can change. I'm changing too. I've been on both sides of the political extremes, and they're just two sides of the same coin. From BLM to Nick Fuentes, it's just one giant plantation to the next when you overcorrect your political judgment. Just take the time to understand what it is you're surrounding yourself with, who you're supporting, and why they ultimately choose to support you. Because despite all these civil rights speeches of everyone is human, ideologically and historically, they still see us in the same light. A herd of that need guidance from the superior intellect to control that herd, not the other way around, and definitely not from a equality perspective. Because at the end of the day, not everyone is the same. Inequality is a good thing when used correctly. We shouldn't be striving for protected status that help us become pets of the state or corporations. We should be striving to become people of merit that have a skill or set of skills people can confidently put their money on. Not because of your race, but because people know you can do the damn job better than anyone else. And in order to defeat this toxic cultural hegemony, we have to subvert it with a positive one. One that teaches people I can instead of I can't because of XYZ reasons of racism. One that teaches positive male and female values instead of a culture that teaches negative ones and calls it a good thing, reinforced by moral grandstanding and LARPing of fighting against racism or solving humanitarian efforts. So there's a lesson in this one I hope a lot of people can take and learn from. This isn't about clout chasing or being angry because my career failed and his took off, especially considering I'm a bit more conscious on what I upload, and I don't want to fall into the same pattern of uploading slop just to appear consistent. If I'm going to grow, I want it slowly, so that I'm surrounded by people who understand who I am and don't make up excuses when hit pieces come out. They know I value my dignity as opposed to numbers and fame. It's about addressing an issue that I have witnessed in the black community for far too long, that is representative in our so-called leaders who are celebrities, that no other race has celebrities as leaders. That repeats so often, we're no longer people, we're a product. I can't even call it racism anymore. At this point, it's abuse to state property. And people wonder why I don't march with BLM. I mean, it's just the state roughing up what's theirs. And the only time black people want to do something about it is when the other side does it. We're a product, a production seized by our overlords to centralize and control wealth and power through strategic power plays through the economy that they claim to hate so much, where they make the most profits out of it despite hating it, while we receive nothing but tokens and participation trophies. Also, they can sell us the dream of some utopia with little to no tangibles to show for our children or our children's children. So until people start treating themselves as people and instead of state property, you're on your own. Which means the longer you hold on to Marxism, you'll always be state property. So Godspeed to you, Darian. May he guide you so long as you accept him as your savior. Or who knows, bro could probably just stay being a nigga for all I know. And if you made it all the way to the end of the video, thanks everyone. God bless.